اغفر لنا ولوالدينا ولمن وجب له حق علينا ولمن وصانا بالدعاء ولجميع أمة محمد وآل محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على سيدنا ونبينا أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد وعلى أهل بيته الأطيبين الأنجبين بهم نتولى ومن أعدائهم نتبرأ إلى الله. Dua for today is Allahumma ja'alni fihi min al-mustaghfirin. Allah, in this month enlist me among those who seek forgiveness. وَجَعَلْنِي فِيهِ مِنْ عِبَادِكَ الصَّالِحِينَ الْقَانِتِينَ, and enlist me among those of your righteous, obedient servants. وَجَعَلْنِي فِيهِ مِنْ أَوْلِيَائِكَ الْمُقَرَّبِينَ, and enlist me among your close friends. بِرَأْفَتِكَ يَا أَرْحَمَ الرَّاحِمِينَ, by your kindness. By your kindness, O the most merciful. Once again in this dua we ask Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala to give us the tawfiq that we seek His forgiveness and maghfirah, and that too has a few conditions. One of the conditions is that the wrong that we have done in the past, we sincerely repent and we ask Him that we will not be repeating the wrong that was done, and that way we can seek His maghfirah. وَجَعَلْنِي فِيهِ مِنْ أَوْلِيَائِكَ الْمُقَرَّبِينَ, Allah, make us among those of your friends who are so close to Him, and they are the best of the servants of Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala. The surah that we have for tonight, it is Suratul Fil. Suratul Fil, it is the surah number 105 of the Holy Quran, and it has 5 ayats, and starts with Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. ألم تر كيف فعل ربك بأصحاب الفيل ألم يجعل كيدهم في تضليل وأرسل عليهم طيرا أبابيل ترميهم بحجارة من سجيل فجعلهم كعصف مأكول. A beautiful surah which gives us a lot of hope, which has a lot of strength in it, that no matter what a superpower be, he can do you no harm, as the ayah also that was just mentioned, كُلَّمَا أَوْقَدُوا نَارًا لِلْحَرْبِ أَطْفَأَهَا اللَّهُ. Just like that in Suratul Fil also a similar incident takes place, and it's the story of the companions of the elephant mentioned in this surah. And the story is that when Abraha, the superpower of that time, he attacked the holy Kaaba to destroy it, but the might of the Almighty Allah was such that it ruined him who was the most sophisticated and the most powerful army at that time. Now this incident, it took place before Islam, and it marks the beginning of the historical calendar which was known as Aamul Fil, and the year of the elephant. It was this year that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was born, and 40 years after his birth he was officially pronounced and appointed as the Prophet Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam for everyone, for the creation. Abraha was the king of Yemen. He built a marble temple, and he invited people to come and visit and perform the Hajj around the Kaaba that he had built. Now one of the Arabs, he mocked at and he insulted the Kaaba that he had made, and to avenge Abraha he brought an army of elephants to destroy the Kaaba that is in Mecca, in Masjid al-Haram. The Almighty Allah, He also sent a flock of birds, swallows, like swallows, with pebbles in their beaks, and they pounded and ruined the most sophisticated army at that time. So the surah starts Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, in the name of Allah, the Rahman and the Rahim. Alam tara kayfa fa'ala rabbuka bi ashabil fil. Have you not regarded how your Lord dealt with the army of the elephants? Alam yaj'al kaydahum fi tadlil. Did he not make their stratagems go awry? And then says, وَأَرْسَلَ عَلَيْهِمْ طَيْرًا أَبَابِيلَ. He sent against them flocks of birds. تَرْمِيهِمْ بِحِجَارَةٍ مِّن سِجِّيلٍ. Pelting them with stones of shale. فَجَعَلَهُمْ كَعَصْفٍ مَأْكُولٍ. Making them like chewed up straw. Now the beauty of the fadilat of this surah that we have in riwayat, Imam al-Sadiq alayhi salatu wasalam, he says that one who recites this surah in his prayers on the day of judgment, the creation will testify that he was among those who maintained and who kept up prayers. And a caller on the day of judgment would say that your testimony for my servant was right, and I accept your testimony and enter him in the heaven without being questioned. And why was that? Because he is among those who loved the actions of Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala. Now, one of the other things that we have regarding this surah is that this surah, if you were to recite, now this the hadith was reciting it in mustahab prayers. If you were to recite it in your wajib mandatory prayers, it is an incomplete surah, meaning that Suratul Fil with Suratul Quraysh together they are counted as one surah. If you intend to recite this surah in your prayers, you have to recite Suratul Hamd, then Suratul Fil, and then Suratul Quraysh. So 3 surahs, and all 3 of them with Bismillah. And only then will the 2 surahs will be counted as one surah. Or for example, there are other 2 surahs in Quran, they are counted as one, and that is Surah Duha and Surah Inshirah. So for these surahs also, if you were to recite them in your prayers, you recite Suratul Hamd and then Suratul Duha, and after that Suratul Inshirah. So 3 of these surahs will make up 2 surahs. Now the effects of reciting this surah is that you will be freed from your enemy by the barakah of reciting this glorious surah, and you will be prevented from drowning someone who recites this surah, keeps reciting this surah. One of the other things that we do find in riwayat is that if you fear someone, if you fear an enemy, and then you want to protect yourself, for your protection, they say that you recite this Suratul Fil. And how do you do that? When you recite, there are these 2 surahs that start with Kaf, Ha, Ya, Ain, Sad, and Ha, Mim, Ain, Sin, Qaf. So these are these code words between Allah and His Rasul. So for your protection, here says that you start from your right thumb. You say Kaf, Ha, Ya, Ain, Sad, and then again, from here, Ha, Mim, Ain, Sin, Qaf. So you start with the thumb of your right hand and then you count it all the way to the thumb of your left hand. So Kaf, Ha, Ya, Ain, Sad, you open them up like that, and Ha, Mim, Ain, Sin, Qaf. So initially you have to close them like that. Kaf, Ha, Ya, Ain, Sad, Ha, Mim, Ain, Sin, Qaf. Now you recite Suratul Fil. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alam tara kayfa fa'ala rabbuka bi ashabil fil. Alam yaj'al kaydahum fi tadlil wa arsala alayhim tayran ababil tarmihim. Now when you come to tarmihim, hadith says that you open up your fingers now. How? Tarmihim, 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 tarmihim bihijaratin min sijil faja'alahum ka'asfin ma'kul. That is a protection for you from the enemy who you fear. Now this is something that was in brackets. Now the other thing that we do find in riwayat says that قال من قرأ في فرائضه ألم تر كيف فعل ربك شهد له يوم القيامة كل سهل وجبل ومدر. When you recite this in your wajib prayers, this on the day of judgment, you would see that all the deserts and the mountains and all these pebbles, they will bear witness for you that you are among the musallin. وَيُنَادِي لَهُ يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ مُنَادٍ صَدَقْتُمْ. That is, on the day of judgment, the caller would say that صَدَقْتُمْ, you said the truth. Ala abdi, whatever you testified for this my servant is all true. Qabiltu, Allah says, Qabiltu shahadatukum, I will accept your testimony, la, for him, wa alayhi, if whatever testimony you give in his favor or against him, that will be accepted. And then says, أدخلوه الجنة ولا تحاسبوا فإنه ممن أحبه وأحب عمله. Says, he take him and make him enter the heaven. He is among those and would enter without being questioned, and he is among those who he loved. وأحب عمله, and his actions also are such praised and worthy. So that is regarding the fadilat of this surah that we have. Now, what we do see in this surah is that Ababil, it's not the name of a bird in particular. Ababil says Tayran Ababil, means Ababil is not the name of a bird in particular. In fact, it is a flock of birds. A flock of birds was sent, Tayran Ababil, birds were sent in flocks. Ashab al-Fil, they were destroyed. Not destroyed, not only an ordinary destruction. When Allah wants to defame someone, He defames in such a way that it is a lesson for generations and for history to come. Just like what happened in Tabas after the Islamic Revolution, how the superpower was crushed and dismantled, that was how he was defamed. Here Allah says, فَجَعَلَهُمْ كَعَصْفٍ مَأْكُولٍ. By killing also he could have destroyed the army of elephants. He says, not only did I destroy, فَجَعَلَهُمْ كَعَصْفٍ مَأْكُولٍ, like crushed straw, crushed hay. Crushed hay meaning that is that height of defamation that was shown to that superpower. Ashab al-Fil were destroyed, crushed and belittled by فَجَعَلَهُمْ كَعَصْفٍ مَأْكُولٍ. Now this surah gives so much of hope that it warns the criminals that you use signs and examples that are before you. The incident of the companions of the elephant was so famous that people, they didn't need any more detailed information. Whenever they said Ashab al-Fil, it was so evident and known to everyone that Allah says, Alam tara kaifa. Do you not see? Did you not see? Says that it is so evident and it was so near. May have been decades after, even today. It's centuries since this incident unfolds. But Allah talks to us, says, Alam tara. Did you not see? That incident, that it was so clear and so massive that it is as if known to everyone. And no one will forget that history. Alam tara kayfa fa'ala rabbuka bi ashab al-fil. Now this Kaaba that we worship, perform tawaf in, and which is so sacred to us, it isn't as such that Islam, only in Islam it is dignified. Prior to Islam also, Kaaba was sacred. Tampering the sanctity of Kaaba was always recognized as a sin, as a crime, even in the era of Jahiliyyah. They honored, they respected Kaaba. Says, كَيْفَ فَعَلَ رَبُّكَ بِأَصْحَابِ الْفِيلِ. That is, you tamper the sanctity of the Holy Kaaba, Allah will also defame you. Allah will tamper your respect, your honor, and says, فَجَعَلَهُمْ كَعَصْفٍ مَأْكُولٍ, and He will defame you like crushed hay. So Allah's azab also, one of the other things that we see in this surah is that when He wants to fight some sophisticated army, He doesn't come up with a sophisticated army. We had an army of that superpower of that time, Abraha, and the strongest and the mightiest of the ammunitions of that time were the elephants, and Allah sends small birds with tiny little pebbles in their beaks and in their paws, and the size of those pebbles is the chickpea. That little pebble is thrown on these elephants, and Allah uses techniques that are so simple. When He wants to save the best of His creation, the Prophet, He doesn't have any sophisticated equipment for that. sends a little spider, and that spider spins a web, and the Prophet is protected by the web of that spider. That is Allah Ta'ala, His might. Here it's with these birds, He crushes them, destroys them. There it's with that little spider He saves them. Even today also, with all these bullies that we have around us, all these arrogant powers, this little corona is sufficient to destroy them. As they see that all those ships, they have been filled with, they have these patients, and this little corona, which is so minute, and it says that it is 2 of 10,000 portions of a millimeter, which can hardly be seen, and so difficultly seen by a microscope, and it causes all this destruction. So birds were deployed by Allah as His officers, as His generals, as His commanders, and they take the instructions from Him, and they are intelligent agents of Allah. Says أرسل عليهم طيرا أبابيل. أرسل عليهم, He, Allah, sent upon them, that is the most sophisticated army, طيرا أبابيل, that is a flock of birds. Now knowing the plots of the enemies and ruining their plots is also important. Allah says يجعل كيدهم في تضليل. Alam yaj'al kaydahum fi tadlil. That is all that kaid. Kaid, it's plots, schemes. Enemies, they have plots, they have schemes. So all these plots and scheming of the enemies, Allah, He ruins them. How does He ruin them? فَجَعَلَ كَيْدَهُمْ فِي تَضْلِيلٍ. And the enemies use the most sophisticated and the strongest to fight and destroy God, and Allah uses the simplest ways and methods to destroy those enemies. And inshallah the same will happen now. The enemies of Allah, no matter how strong they be, they are weak. One of the ayat in Quran says that inna kayd ash-shaytan kana dha'ifa, that indeed this kayd, the plotting, the scheming, the makr of shaitan, it is weak. Kana dha'ifa, in Arabic, kana means past, dha'ifa means weak. So inna kayd ash-shaytan kana dha'ifa, indeed the plotting, the scheming of shaitan was weak. It's not weak today in 2020. It has always been weak. No matter shaitan, what he does, all his plotting, his scheming, his tactics, they are all weak. And the enemies of God also, the same thing is with them. No matter how strong they want to portray, and the most sophisticated arms and ammunitions, and the most sophisticated technology they may be having, but Allah comes up, and it says in the ayah that we recited today, كُلَّمَا أَوْقَدُوا نَارًا لِلْحَرْبِ, whenever they kindle fire to a battle, أَطْفَأَهَا اللَّهُ, Allah will put it off. Allah will put it off. So the worst of the punishments that we see in the prior nations for disrespecting the sanctities was being drowned and destroyed, and no one was like the Ashab al-Fil. Ashab al-Fil, Allah destroyed them. He killed them. At the same time, فَجَعَلَهُمْ كَعَصْفٍ مَأْكُولٍ, He made them like chewed, crushed hay. So chewed, crushed hay, when you throw it away, it's so disgusting and no one wants to look at it. That is the height of defamation, that all this army was like chewed, crushed hay that was thrown in that desert, and Kaaba was saved by Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala. A beautiful surah, gives a lot of hope and also a protection from every kind of enemy, and may Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala count us among the adherents of Quran and among the best of His servants, and may Allah keep us, raise us with the Holy Quran in this dunya, in Barzakh and in Qiyamah. We have another session going on in the other room. You can join there, and that is also a nice session. It's towards its end. If you all join and benefit from that as well. The Ustad there is also a very good Ustad, very qualified, very sincere, very humble, and inshallah you will like